Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Ben Clark and welcome to this video which I have done in collaboration with Slowways UK. Now Slowways UK is a collaborative network of routes between towns and city centres that literally does what it says. It goes the slow way. And the point of this is that we can start to slow down and appreciate the world that we have around us, especially in our local areas. Not just going from point A to point B as quickly as possible, but to really soak in the atmosphere. Now for my route today, I have chosen the route between Poole and Bournemouth, although we are going to be starting in Bournemouth and working my way to where I live, which is in Poole. And the reason I choose this route is because that it has a lot of meaning and a lot of my history is built into this route. And you'll see why as we go through this video. So the route we are taking today is between Bournemouth and Poole. We can start in Bournemouth, go through the Bournemouth Gardens, along the beautiful summer front of Bournemouth and Poole Beach, going all the way along there. We're going to turn in at Sandbanks, and we're going to go along the inside of the harbour, along the waterfront. And then I've given you two options here to go in either direction, either through Beta, along the seafront still, or taking an alternate route through Poole Park, and then ending up in one of my favourite places in the area, which is Poole Quay. So as we start our journey here today in Bournemouth Town Centre, we are heading through the gardens first of all, along to the seafront. And now the first thing you probably notice about me, wandering along here, is the fact that I'm in a wheelchair. I haven't always been in a wheelchair. In fact, I acquired my disability 12 years ago. And like I said in the introduction, part of my story is along this route, and we'll delve into that a little bit more detail when we get to that point. However, coming through the first part here, we have the beautiful Bournemouth Gardens. And what's so special about the gardens is that it's so full of life. Not only is it full of trees and plants and grass and a little river running through it, which is really beautiful and scenic, but we also have a wonderful range of people. We have students from the local university, you have holiday makers, you have locals, all mixed in together and creating a really great atmosphere. There's often people playing music, playing games, and a real sense of community within this area, and it's a really nice place to be, especially during the day at this time on a wonderful summer's day. Now whilst we're in the gardens here, let's talk about my life before my injury. Now, my life before my injury was a bit of a roller coaster already. Unfortunately, when I was just 4 years old, my dad committed suicide and it left me, my sister and my mum all alone, but really trying to make the best of our life. And obviously this set a precedent. You know, we were working hard and trying to make the best of what we had available to us. This led to me doing lots of sports. So first of all, I was really interested in football, but I came across my love, which was swimming. I actually became very good at swimming and I got offered a scholarship to a school. From there it grew and I started to win medals both regionally and nationally, and eventually it took me to my life in Australia, where I was living for just over a year. And this was a really amazing thing in my life and I absolutely adored it, and I was really on top of the world, training loads, living my best life in Australia. And let's get back into where we are here. So we're coming along from Bournemouth Gardens now through to the seafront area. Now if you've ever been down to this area before, this is quite a famous area within British seaside. It's where hundreds of thousands of people come every single year to enjoy the golden sandy beaches that we very rarely have here in the UK. And along the front here we go through the arcade, which is so good to see that the arcades are still up and running and vibrant as ever. Those iconic sounds of the 10p machines clanging along and the whirring and the bleeping sounds of the machines is so good, and it's so thriving, and it's awesome to see. It's such a big part of British culture, having the arcade by the seaside. And also we have the pier here as well as we come out through the arcade, which again is such a big iconic part of it. And we come out as well onto Bournemouth Beach, which is a big famous-ish beach here in the UK with lots of events and lots of things happening, which has grown and grown over the years into what has become a robust summer programme. So if you're coming here during the summer, there is so much to do, but it's also very good during the winter as well. Today I actually came on probably the worst day to come, because there was a bit of a heat wave here in the UK, you might remember, having the hottest temperatures ever, and this was one of those days. So yeah, it was a very hot, sunny day, and for somebody pushing along in a wheelchair is probably not the best way to do it, but we survived to do this walk. But coming along here is a beautiful sight. It's really nice and sunny and is really awesome indeed. Along the way, there's a few surprises here. There's a couple of ones that I won't talk about. I'll let you discover them for yourself. But one of them is this awesome funicular system. And this is something that you rarely see in the UK, if not anywhere really in the world. There are obviously places within mountainous regions, but having it here on the cliffside where you can take a ride from the bottom up to the top, it's really cool to see. It's still in operation, which is really awesome indeed. As we move along then the beach, we come to one of my favourite spots, which is down by Branksome area, and that is where they've built this lovely platform right the way out to the ocean and slightly out onto the rocks. And this is really good because it means that for me in a wheelchair, getting in the sand isn't too easy, but having it the opportunity to here is really good. I can go all the way along, except for I think there must have been a windy day the day before because all the sand had come over the path and it meant that I couldn't get all the way along without getting a little bit stuck. But it's so good to be able to get along there usually, and to be able to enjoy getting down to the beach, getting right down to the water and just soaking in the sun, the atmosphere, the views, which is an amazing view out over the ocean. It's a real treat, and it's something that you don't get too much. Despite this being an island nation, obviously we get massively awesome views out over the sea. You can't quite see France, which some people think, but you can see quite a lot. You can see Isle of Wight, and you can see over towards Old Harry Rocks as well, which is pretty cool. As we come out of this area now, we start to move down towards a area that is quite a significant one for me, because this is, as I said in the intro, where I had my accident. We're moving down now into the Sandbanks area, and this is something that happened in 2010, July 3rd, 2010 to be precise. And this is a moment that had, and a day that had a huge impact on my life. I was back from my swimming trip in Australia. I was here to see my niece be christened, which had just happened, and this was a couple of days later. I was down the beach with a friend, just chilling out, and it was a hot day, much like it was on this day that I was filming. I ran down into the sea to cool off, dove into a wave, and unfortunately the wave was a lot shallower than I thought it was, despite it being up to my waist. It was shallower out further. Dove in, my hands broke away, I hit my head on the bottom, and that broke my neck at the C5, C6, C7 level. And obviously my life just instantly changed in a moment. I went from literally training 30 hours a week in the pool or in the gym, traveling the world, doing all of these amazing things, meeting amazing people, just really cool experiences at the age of 19. And then suddenly I was in a wheelchair. Well, first of all, I was in bed for 8 weeks, lying down, staring at the ceiling, not being able to move, being paralyzed from the chest down. It was just absolutely crazy. No feeling, no sensation, just lying there, and my whole life had just suddenly changed. Now for me, this was obviously, I didn't want to be lying in a bed, but once I had come out of that period, the 8 weeks, and I started to get up into a wheelchair and start to move around, my determination had come back from my swimming, and all I wanted to do was to get back into swimming. And that was my determination, and it actually helped me through that rehab process to be okay with it, essentially. And it really pushed me forward through the first couple of years of my injury. Now, as it went through, I started to not enjoy it as much, and it started to get a little bit more difficult. And we'll talk about that after this little bit, where we're coming through now. So we're coming out from the Sandbanks area, and we're coming into the beautiful Poole Harbour, overlooking the island, which is Brownsea Island, which is a place we can get red squirrels from. Later on in the video, we're going to Poole Quay. You can get a ferry from there over to Brownsea Island, see that area, but there's also loads of windsurfing and loads of other cool stuff that goes on here, which is really, really cool to see. So obviously by this point, as I mentioned, my life had completely changed, but my determination and my purpose was still there in life, as to be a swimmer. However, this waned over the years, and it got to the point where I just wasn't enjoying the swimming anymore like I was before. So with a heavy heart and a number of years, I decided to quit. the swimming, and that's when the true reality of the situation came in. And this was my hardest moment, really, and I wanted to reflect that from the hill I'm climbing up, essentially here. So with this, you know, I'm coming up the hill, and although I've been through this journey and everything was great, I got to this stage and I had no purpose, and life was so much harder without that purpose. It wasn't the injury that was disabling me, it was my lack of purpose and my attitude towards life at that moment. So like I'm coming up this hill, it was a real struggle, and I had to keep pushing, and no matter how much I pushed and worked here, it felt like I was going nowhere. However, I did have a bit of a breakthrough when I started to apply myself to something new. So I tried those different things, but I was applying myself to things that were going to fade away like the swimming did. My love of it fade away. So instead, I tried to focus on my values instead. And that is what got me through. I wanted to be a good leader, I wanted to be a good friend, I wanted to be happy, I wanted to be this. And these are the things I focused on rather than my job title. And that helped me up this hill that I was going up. And it was great because when I got to the top, I had, like this view here, a beautiful outlook on life now, and it felt like anything was possible. And it felt from there and until now that life is definitely going downhill, but not in a bad way, but more like it feels effortless and so awesome that it's just going in a forward momentum and doesn't feel like it's ever going back to that stage where I was before. And it was at this point in my life that everything was moving in a forward direction, that as we come to this next area here, which is coming into the White Cliff Beta area, I found something else in my life, and that was my now beautiful fiance, maybe by the time this video is out, my beautiful wife, which is Alice. And I felt like Alice came into my life at the perfect moment. Everything was in a forward direction. If we had met like literally just months earlier, I just wouldn't have been in the right place. I wouldn't have been the person I am when I met her. And it was because of the momentum that I gained that I attracted such an amazing person, and that now we get to share our life together, which is so awesome. And this area here is an area that we walk every single day together. It's one of the things that we make sure that we do. We get up in the morning, before we have breakfast or anything, we head out for our morning walk along Beta, White Cliff area, and just really soak in this amazing area. And as you can see, this is an amazing area. It's absolutely beautiful. There's so many good sights, and also it's a really popular dog walking spot. Both of us being dog lovers, there's lots of dogs there who always run up to me and always want to say hello, and that's really, really awesome to have. From here we actually have two routes available to you. You can continue walking along Beta, which is actually really awesome and a really nice way. And I said I would do this every day, but I'm going to take a slight detour with you and come through another area that I absolutely love, which is Poole Park. Now Poole Park is a lovely park. It's got great wildlife with the swans, with the ducks, with the geese. It's also got jellyfish in the lagoon, which is another great point. The lagoon is really awesome, which people do water sports on. It's not really a place for swimming as such, but it's a really good place to just walk along and just chill out, which is really great. You can run around it, which people do via a park run, which is really lovely, and there's lots of exercise equipment along the way. There's a train in there, there's a jungle gym, and one of the really nice relaxing points if you're coming along here, it might be quite a nice place to stop off, is to go into the rose garden. And this rose garden, especially during the summer months, it's just a really zen place. It feels away from the world, just off the main road, but quiet, and really just a place where you can sit back, relax, and just meditate on life. Around here as well, there's other things such as a war memorial, which is really beautiful. It's always well maintained and well kept, and it's really nice. And one of the trees here was one that when I was growing up, this was a tree that I used to climb all the time as a kid, which is really cool. So check that out. But there's also some awesome other trees, including this huge monkey puzzle, but I'm going to not show you that, and I want you to try and find that for yourself. There's a couple of monkey puzzle trees, but one of them is enormous, so try and find that one for yourself. It's a little bit hidden, so you might have to go maybe behind the bowls, just as a tip. But yeah, that's really cool. So coming out of here then, as I said, we've got two options for the walk. So to go from here, we can go back to Beta via a subway, which is what we can do, and then we come out along Beta, and I'm kind of like skipped to where we were on the previous bit, but a little bit further along, and we've got a nice little area here. And this is a great view of the harbour, looking out over the boats and looking out over towards Brownsea and Arn, and so many good areas around here, which is really, really nice. It's a really beautiful place to just sit and relax and soak it all up, and that's a common theme along this journey. It's such a good place just to soak in the local wildlife and landscape, and it's really, really nice. Now coming along to our final stop now, which is at Poole Quay. And before we talk about Poole Quay, I just want to say about like where I am now in my life. So I was obviously in really good momentum and everything was going really well, and I had this idea which I wanted to do, which was adapt to perform, and you can see the logo there behind me. So Adapt to Perform is my business, but it didn't start as a business, it started as a YouTube channel which is all about helping disabled people get fit. See, I was looking online for fitness for myself and I couldn't find anything out there. It was like really difficult to find anything, so I was like, you know what, I've got this great big background in fitness and swimming, why don't I just do it myself? So bought a camera, the one I'm actually filming this on, and I set up and I just started filming in my spare bedroom, just doing follow along workouts. And from there, this reached out to thousands of people all around the world, which is what it continues to do to this day. And from there, I turned it into a business, brought on my business partner Callum, and from there we've grown it into an online membership platform that runs alongside the YouTube. So we've got the free stuff on the YouTube and then a more premium service via our membership site, which continues to help thousands of people around the world and helps to drive change within the fitness industry to make it much more accessible. This has been an absolute privilege for me, and it's something that I continue to do along the way, and also to tell my story as well and to help other people that may be going through similar things, or not even going through similar things, just going through hardship in their life and seeing that there is hope on the other side, and it's through hard work and smart work and determination that we can come through and do something really great with our lives. And hopefully with this video I've hopefully inspired you maybe a little bit to do that, even if it's just to get started on something. Just start doing something and just really just putting all of your effort into it, which is for me what I do every single day now to really drive home what I'm doing. And let's wrap this up with the key, and the key is somewhere that I've loved over the years. I've lived not too far away from it, which is really nice, and we have so many events going on here, whether it be bike night during the summer, fireworks night during the summer, car night during the summer. So there's lots of nights during the week during the summer. So if you are here during the summer, I would recommend coming down on a Tuesday, Thursday or Friday night. If you're here during the rest of the year, there's still lots of events on. We've even got a day for pirates because of the area being a port town and having that piratey theme going on, and the old naval stuff that was here and the import and export kind of thing. But it's a really lively atmosphere during these events. It's a really great place to just sit, relax, and just end what has been a wonderful walk from Bournemouth to Poole. And yeah, I just wanted to sum up by saying these Slowways routes are fantastic, and I really love the idea, the ambition and the inspiration behind them, because life is not about just getting from A to B. It's not about getting from birth to death. It's about the experiences we have along the way, and the Slowways kind of reflects that. And my life is not a journey from A to B. It's a journey that goes all over the place, and there's highlights and there's lowlights and there's hills and there's downhills, and yeah, it's not all smooth sailing, it's not all wonderful necessarily, but it is interesting. And it's when we stop and we look around and we soak it all in is when we really appreciate life. And also these Slowways, they have stories on them. My story is just one of the stories along this route. I'm sure there's hundreds of thousands of millions and billions of stories that have etched their way into this path that I have taken today. I'm just one of them, and I'm lucky to be part of that. I'm lucky to be alive and to tell my story to you guys along this way. So I implore you to check out Slowways, check out what they're doing. It's a really great organization and a really great just experiment and thought, and just go and enjoy your life. It's essentially what I'm going to say. I don't really know what's going with that. But anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Check out Slowways, like and subscribe to this channel if you did like it, and I'll see you, if you want to carry on watching some of my videos, please do. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.